So I want to talk about an incredibly powerful idea. This idea, I try and say this over every time I can during the month of Elul. It's definitely connected to Elul. But really, this idea is a life message. It is a different way of looking at our lives. Some people will say what I'm saying is obvious, but I think most of you will say, yeah, Rabbi, you're right. You need to say this more often. I just want to begin with a general statement about Elul. Elul, as we know, it's not written in the Torah. The word Elul, the month of Elul, is not written in the Torah. We can figure out that Moshe Rabbeinu spent the month of Elul up on the mountain fighting for us on behalf of Klal Yisrael. The Medrash says that Klal Yisrael was involved in tefillah during the month of Elul. But really, there's not much there. What we do know is that there is a custom for the rabbis to look for what's called ramazim, right? Reish Mem Zayin, a remez means a hint in the Torah for the word Elul. And they do this almost obsessively, looking for different ramazim in the Torah for the word Elul. What's the most famous of all? Anybody know? Ani Ladodi, Vadodi Li. Everyone knows that one. So I'm saying this for Avigail and for the Brits over here. It's a really bad joke. But what was Princess Diana's last words? Yeah, her boyfriend was called Dodi, it's a hint. That was it. Ani Ladodi, Vadodi Li. I apologize. Yeah, very bad. Anyhow, the bottom line is that, yeah, Ani Ladodi, Vadodi Li, the idea that we have to make the first step, Ani Ladodi, I'm going to reach out to my beloved HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and he will reach out to me. That is one of the many, many ramazim of the month of Elul. But really, there's Chazal. There's probably, by the time you finish, a few dozen of them. Some of you had Rabbi Rodman. Anyone had Rabbi Rodman as the teacher? Back in the day, Rabbi Rodman told me that if you Rabbi Rodman, do you remember him? Technically speaking, he says if you go through it with a computer, you could find hundreds of them. Because it's not just Aleph, Lamed, Vav, Lamed at the beginning of the letters. There's all kinds of skipping letters and the end of a word. You can get hundreds of them. What I want to share with you tonight is a very unknown connection to the word of Elul. And I'm going to talk about it for the next 15 minutes. You're stuck. That's it. You've had your sushi ladies. You're going nowhere. I want to talk about the Avodram. Or the Avodram, some of you may be aware, he wrote a siddur. He lived in 13th century Seville in southern Spain. And his siddur is a classic. It is a source for us for many incredibly fascinating pieces of information. And this is one of them. He tells us that the word Elul is embedded at the beginning of Evolution. So just I'm going to step back for a moment and give you some background information. Hi, my name is Menachem Nissel. I'm famous for a sefer called Rig Shelev. Rig Shelev is a sefer called Hilchos Tefillah for women, the laws and the hashkafa of tefillah for women. I'm telling you this right now. We're coming out now with the new edition. So God willing, next time I come back here, I'm hoping to have my little box of brand new books, and I'll sign them for you, and then you can sell them on eBay for a profit. You know, whatever can I tell you? It's very exciting for me. And there's one section in the book about what women are obligated to daven, and Evolution is at the very bottom of the list. Men say Evolution. There's a couple of reasons why we say Evolution. One of them, by the way, includes women. At the end, it says L'mala Nigal Arik, which is a little tefillah for our children. But at the very beginning of Evolution, we have two psukim from the prophet Yeshayahu Hanavi. And the Sefer Leket Yosher, which is just those of you that have never heard of him, it's okay. Leket Yosher lived in Rome around about 1260. Tzidkiyo ben Avram, I think was his name. He was a Rishon. He writes down that a man has an obligation to learn some of the words of the prophets every single day. So us yeshiva guys, we have a bad habit. We like learning Gemara, and then every so often we learn Halacha, and Navi is basically for children. Wrong. Okay, you're supposed to learn a little bit of Navi every day. So the Leket Yosher brings down that the first two psukim of Evolution actually has two psukim from Yeshayahu Hanavi, and you should say them to fulfill the minimum mitzvah of saying a little bit of Navi every single day. The practical nafkamina is that, for example, when coming up to Yom Kippur, and we read the Navi Sefer Yonah, so afterwards, in the Ila, when we do, again, we do Evolution, so we skip those psukim, because we already learned some Navi. Get it? Now, some of you are giving me that look, Rabbi Nissel, No offense, this is an extremely boring class so far. All right, it's like, you're very technical, giving information. First of all, we don't even say evolution. This doesn't even apply to us. And it's very, sounds like male-centric, saying evolution. The second pasuk of evolution is the obligation for menfolk to remember that before you rush off to work after davening to learn some Torah. So there it says, "V'latzion goel l'shavi fesha b'Yaakov neum Hashem v'ani zeis bris yam Hashem ruchi shelecha." My bris is the bris of Torah. Le'yamush, you shouldn't leave your children, you and your children's children. You should continue studying Torah. The reminder to study Torah after davening. That's the second pasuk. Comes along the Avodram and says, guess what? Guess what? In the first pasuk, that I and you could say it if you want, evolution. Every single morning, there is a reference to Elul in the first pasuk of evolution. Now, let me say this out slowly. Uva letzion goel, ulashave fesha, b'Yaakov neum Hashem. Anyone see the word El? I'm going to help you a little bit. By the way, I want to thank my daughter for doing this for me. Here, let's see if this helps. Can you see it? You guys can see it? You can see the L in red. Uval Etzion Goel. Get it? This is for the camera people. Uval Etzion Goel, Ulashave Fesha. The word Elul breaks up the two phrases. Uval Etzion Goel. To Zion will come the Redeemer. Ulashave Fesha for those that do tshuva. Got it? Okay? There's a new L. And you're all thinking to yourself, Rabbi Nissel, no offense, but who cares? So the Avodram, he found some Spaniard that lived in Seville. By the way, bucket list ladies, Seville is a very pretty city. It's got a castle, it's very cool. Some rabbi from Seville found the word El, which every guy that says evolution says every morning, and it breaks, basically it connects two phrases. One about importance of Mashiach coming, the second talks about importance of tshuva. What is going on over here? And the answer is everything. As I'm about to reveal to you. This is incredibly powerful, and you're going to see in a few minutes, very, very personal for every single one of us. So I want to begin at the very beginning and ask you all a question. Prophecy. You'll know it's a very, very big deal. Once upon a time, Klal Yisrael was zochet to prophets. We had prophecy amongst us. Right about between the Purim story and the Hanukkah story, it disappeared. By the time we get to Hanukkah, it's already Torah Sheba'al Peh. It's basically the world of the yeshiva and the world of the university was struggling for what's the meaning of life. But once upon a time, it was prophets, the evil prophets, the prophets of Baal, and the good guys, Yeshayahu, Yirmiyahu, Yecheskel, and so on and so forth. We once upon a time had prophets. This time of the year, prophecy is a big deal because if you go to Shul Shabbat, you'll know that after Kriyas HaTorah, we read what's called Shevet HaNechemta, the 7 chapters from Yeshayahu Hanavi that talk about comfort. That's after all the nasty stuff, the Gimel de Paranusa that we had around about Tisha B'Av time, between Shavas and Tisha B'Av. And then there's going to be one about Tshuva, which we're going to do just before Yom Kippur. Beautiful, beautiful. Now I want to ask you a question. What is the purpose of prophecy? Why do we need prophets, and why is it a big deal? And why does the Leket Yosher want me to learn a little bit of prophecy every single morning? What is prophecy all about? Interactive moment. I'm going to set you up for success. This is the wrong answer. Secretly, although you're embarrassed to admit it, there are ladies in front of me as I speak who still read Harry Potter books. Admit it. Okay, there you are. You can see that embarrassed smile over here. Okay, you're still into Harry Potter. Okay, it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay, it's so the past. But it's fine. Okay, I'm very grateful to J.K. Rowling's that for a period of my life I was able to read books that were basically kosher, and then I could show off to my students and be with it and like be in touch. But I would like to point out, in book 5, there's a huge big deal about the prophecies. Remember that? Nods from the Harry Potter nerds right there. You can see them. Okay, there we go. Okay, there's a big deal about prophecy. So most people, you go on the street and you interview people, what's prophecies all about? They'll tell you it's all about these scary-looking people who can tap into something above and tell you the future. The end is nigh, all that kind of stuff. So let's see what our Rabbanim say. Let's open up the Rambam, Maimonides, the Rambam in Hilchos Tshuva. he talks about why we need prophecy in two places. One is in chapter 4, one is in chapter 9, and he talks about why we need prophecies and why we need today to continue to connect to the prophecies. Who would like to finish my sentence?
Connection to Hashem?
So you could do that with regular Chumash, I think. I think so. You could. I could. You know what? I could do with Tehillim. I just need a book of Tehillim to connect.
More direct.
There's something about Nevuah specifically. When I say this, when I give you the answer, you're going to say, I could have said that. So I'm not saying anything deep. Nevuah, the Rambam talks about, I'll give you a clue, it's in Hilchos Tshuva. Get it? Hilchos Tshuva. Perek Daled, he says that the main job of prophecy is to get you to repent. Okay, just open up your average, randomly, a page of Nevuah, especially Yirmiyahu HaNavi, who spoke about the dire consequences of not doing tshuva. He said, he literally said the end is nigh, the Churban is coming, and we have to tshuva. The word tshuva literally means get back on track. Tshuva. The word hashiva shifteni k'vershona, as opposed to slach l'navim kichatana, means you have lost your path, get back on the path. That's number one. In Perek Tes, he talks about the prophecies on a totally different vein. Anybody want to guess? It rhymes with Shmashiach. Excellent. Okay, I knew this was a smart group. Exactly. Okay, it's to remind you all about the coming of Mashiach, that beautiful, beautiful prophecies, especially what we're reading now in the Haftarahs, Roni Sa'ar. We just read the beautiful descriptions. That's where L'Chadodi comes from. All these psukim that talk about the comfort that's going to be brought by the end of days. So you have basically two major themes in the Rambam about tshuva. Number one, about prophecy. Number one is tshuva itself, and number two is the concept of that Mashiach will be coming and describing how beautiful it's going to be at the end of days. One of the most beautiful, if you're into poetry, just the glory and the total majesty of the way they write and describe the way it's going to be, it makes it sound very exciting. And now, finally, I get to my main point. So what's going to happen is the next 5 minutes, I'm going to introduce to you the big idea. And the rest of the class, I'm going to explain it. And then I'm going to bring it back home. But the big idea is as follows. It's no secret that I love teaching. What I'm doing now, I love doing it. Honestly, don't tell this to my wife. I would do this for free every night, especially a group like this. I really would. My wife knows that I actually have to pay bills. But I love teaching. Teaching is something that I feel it's a schus. Hashem gave me the power to teach, and it's a pleasure to have students that want to hear what I have to say. But it's not my number one passion. I have a bigger passion, and that is what's going to happen this Thursday night. This Thursday night, Be'ez Hashem Yisbarach, I'm going to be flying to Chicago, and then I'm going to be meeting up there with a holy Jew by the name of Nissan Black. Some of you may have heard of it. He's a phenomenal rapper, and honestly, okay, I'm not a big understanding of the music genre, but this is a person of MS. This is incredibly, so we're going to be driving together from Chicago to a place called Cassopolis. I hope I'm pronouncing it. Sounds like a swamp, if you see it on the map. I don't know what it is, but it's Michigan, so that's basically, I mean, no offense if you're from Detroit, but there it is, okay? From Detroit to Chicago, about 2/3 along whatever it is, the I-90, you hit this little place called Cassopolis, and that is like a campsite, and there I'm going to be meeting 200 NCSY kids from the Central East region. Very exciting for me. This is something incredible, because I think that if Hashem is kind to me, then in a couple of years from now, in this room, there'll be a girl who say, Rabbi Nissel, you first met me at that Shabbaton in Michigan. That is, for me, the most exciting thing I can do in my life. So I want to ask you a question. Every single one of you, honestly, if you can be in Kiruv, you should be. Klal Yisrael needs you all. But how do you get a person to change? And Kiruv is not simple at all. Honestly, I will not be surprised if this Shabbos, one girl says to me, Rabbi Nissel, seriously, what do you have to offer me? This last week, I saw Taylor Swift. And honestly, she's like generated like $1 billion into the American economy. She's it. She's more important than any presidential debates. That's it. She's the it woman. It's very, very exciting. And what do you have to offer that can compare to, I've forgotten the name of your favorite songs. Can somebody help me over here? Whatever it may be, okay? It's just not going to be, what am I going to do? My challenge, your mission if you choose to accept, is to show that what we have to offer right here in this room is more exciting and more beautiful and more worth fighting for than anything that she could possibly have in the culture that he has. In other words, basically, the trick of Kiruv is to show that what we have, the fact that it's emes is not going to help you. You're not going to say, okay, well, we believe in Olam Haba. Now, somehow or other, you've got to show them that what we have is something that's truly beautiful. So this is exactly what the Rambam is teaching us when he says that the prophets did two things. They asked people to change. Why should I change? And today it's Taylor Swift. 3,000 years ago, I don't know, the Canaanites were clubbing, the Perizzites were partying. They knew how to have fun. And it's just the names of the singers change. The name of the music genre changes. It's what it is, but it's the same thing. Ein chadash tachas hashemesh. All the crazy that goes on today is just repackaging what we've had throughout the centuries, and Jews have always been attracted to it. Honestly, recently I saw the writings in Venice, what the Rabbanim of Venice had to do to stop their boys and girls to go to the carnivals. In those days, carnivals, you used to be able to dress up. It was the pre-internet internet. You could be anonymous. Instead of having chat rooms, they used to have those masks. That's what it was, okay? It's always been like that. So you have to somehow show them that it's more exciting. This is where the descriptions of the Messianic era, what's going to happen when Mashiach comes, to talk about what's going to be at the end of days. That is what, says the Rambam, is going to get people to change, to show them that the world that we live in is really pathetic. Okay, really, there's so much pain, and there's so much anxiety, and there's so much sorrow, and there's so much boredom, and there's so much whatever, things that you just rather not be doing. And the world of Mashiach is Kimala Aretz De'ez Hashem, is something that's very desirable. It's the last time I spoke over here. We spoke about what it's going to be like when Mashiach comes. So this is something very, very exciting. You have to sell that you have an end product that is worth something more. I feel compelled at this moment just to say something negative. I don't like to be negative. But if you ask me what really upsets me in our educational system today is that there are still teachers out there that feel they can get people to change through scaring them. They're talking about all the bad things that happen out there. Honestly, this is for my little Harry Potter friends over here. Just a little piece of information for you, because you probably did not know this. At the end of book 7, at the very end, you have a little epilogue where you get to hear all the hak, right? All the yeshiva shahak. Who gets married? The shidduchim. Who happened to this? Everyone wants to know who married who. There's a whole little scene over there. It's very exciting for that. But they never tell you. J.K. Rowling does not tell us what happened to the Dementors. Okay, for those who do not know, Dementors are these scary creatures that just in their presence you just get depressed and you just get sad. They're just these ghosts that make people just feel very insecure and bad about themselves. I'll tell you where they went. They all started working for the Beis Yaakov movement. Okay, this is basically, I don't know what it is. I know I'm going to get into trouble for this, but it seems to be that every so often you go to Beis Yaakov and there's always that one teacher that every girl just feels like inadequate, just feel like they're not doing the right thing just by being in their presence. And Baruch Hashem, the world's getting much better. I just want to say, because I just realized this is going some Torah anytime, so I've got to behave myself over here, right? So I've got to tell you that, that Baruch Hashem, 99% of what's going on, they're getting right. I can for sure speak about my daughter's education. They love Malot Beit Yaakov here in Yerushalayim. They actually love it. They have a token dementa, but that's like part of the package. But it's really Baruch Hashem. But the point I'm trying to make is, it doesn't work. 2023 doesn't work. Maybe before Hasidus came along, by the way, that's what people did. Is they used to scare people. It's all changed. And what I'm telling you now is that this is the way. This is the way to get people to change. And now I want to take this a whole level deeper and share with you some very important ideas. But I'm going to do it through a story, a very personal story, and then we're going to get back. For those of you that say, Rabbi Nistel, I'd rather have just stick to the Torah. No, this is a great story, and you'll understand that this is a powerful, powerful metaphor for what we're supposed to be doing this time of the year. So are you sitting comfortably, enjoying your sushi? then we shall begin. My wife is from Memphis, Tennessee. That's where she's from. Okay, some of you, you Chicago girls, where are you? Okay, you take the 55 south, you keep going, you end up in Memphis. Just so you keep on going, you end up in New Orleans, but that's it. It's the great center of the country. That's the way it goes. My father-in-law, bless his soul, he's Hashem, he should be well and healthy. He's turning 90 this year. He's in Levendale in Baltimore, anyone that knows him. He's a real Southern gentleman. That's it. Some of you may know this reference, the sloth in Zootopia. So I'm British, so I like to talk quickly and get it over with. I'm not quite Brooklyn, but I just like to talk fast. And my father-in-law is more like, son, if it's all right with you, it's all right with me. Okay, Dad, get it. Okay, let's move on. But the bottom line is, my wife's from the South. I happen to love Memphis. It's a beautiful, beautiful community. About 10 years ago, I can't remember exactly when it was anymore, I was with my family in Memphis, Tennessee, and I get a phone call from a beloved Talmud. Some of you may know him, Todd Cohen. He's in Boca Raton today. He's a world-famous educator. He turned around Kansas City before moving to South Florida. And he's also my Talmud. I taught him in Yerushalayim back in the day. I taught his wife Naomi in Schaffman's. And yeah, he calls me up. A terrible, terrible tragedy happened to him. He lost a beautiful child, Copy, Chron Livracha, a beautiful child. And he found out I was in town, and he asked me, can I come to Kansas City and speak to the whole Kehillah over there for the Shloshim? I think he offered to fly me and pay. I don't remember what he said, but I said, Reb Tom, this is a tremendous honor for me. Don't worry, I'm going to get there. I'll figure out how to get there. Secretly, I have a tremendous love for American road trips. You can't do this in England, no offense. There's something about the great outdoors. Even like in places like the Midwest, where clearly HaKadosh Baruch Hu just did not think it through, right? It was just like, he was like already focused on the Rockies. Like let's get this over with, let's do the Midwest. But the bottom line is that I happen to love, there's a certain thrill for me to get on the big wide road with a cup of coffee and stuff like that, and I get on the road again. There's something exciting about things. So I took my married son, and my married son-in-law, Yehuda Leib, from Carmiel. This was his first time in Chutz La'aretz. It was a big deal. It was first time in America. So I wanted to show him the big outdoors. Very, very exciting. I wanted to have the full experience, so I rented a pickup truck. I put a dog in the back, and I told them, I made them to swear to me they were only going to listen to country music. That's it. I wanted them to have the full experience. No, I did not put a gun rack at the back. I know what you're thinking. I did not do that. But a little bit, I wanted to have like the redneck vibe. We're going into Arkansas. We should do it right. Now, there's a lot of things strange about me. One of them is I have a special place in my heart for American truck stops. It doesn't work in London on the motorways. It's not the same. Okay? Truck stops in America have a sudden old-time glamour. There's nothing like meeting a trucker in the bathroom, and saying like, sure looks like it's going to rain down yonder. And then he goes like this. He goes, mm-hmm. Okay? And then you go back to him and you go, mm-hmm, like that. Oh, it's so cool. I can't begin to tell you how happy this makes me. So this is what I do. Okay, I'm going to go to the great outdoors. We go in, and we cross over the Mississippi, and we take the 55. Then we're in Arkansas, Blytheville, cross over the Missouri line, Cape Girardeau, the great city of St. Louis. We stay there overnight, friends, and the next day, 60 west, over the great state of Missouri. Missouri is extremely boring. Nothing. Hashem, I don't know what he was thinking. But this is it. It's there. It's in between things. So we're crossing Missouri to get to Kansas City. And now I want to tell you, going to get to my point. There's a certain type of a truck stop that is V'at Alis al Kulana. This is the best of them all. It's called Stuckey's. Okay? I actually have one of my students, having heard the share, actually sent me the Stuckey's, okay? It's a picture of Stuckey's. Thank you, Chaya Bernard. She sent it to me. And you can check it out. They have, I think, 100 branches across the Midwest. Stuckey's is different because Stuckey's has a little twist that no other store actually has. So let's work this through, ladies. Normal, regular people, why do you go to a truck stop? Bathrooms. Okay, you're clearly not a driver. You sound like the daughter of a driver. Daddy, are we there yet? I need a toilet. Okay, what is it? Okay, bathrooms, the correct answer. What else? There we go. Okay, gasoline. Get it? Okay, it's a gas stop. Truck. Okay, you fill up gasoline, bathrooms. Third big thing is snacks. Okay, we call it coffee, but it's the same thing, right? You're definitely right. So that's basically, you got your food, you got el baños, toaleta, and then you've got the most important things to fill up with gasoline. Stuckey's has a twist. Because Stuckey's has a thing called the Stuckey's store. I can't begin to tell you how excited I go. I go to Stuckey's store, they have basically, those of you that know Yiddish, they're called tchotchkes, useless items. Another way of saying things that my wife throws out Erev Pesach. And you can get, let's say, for $1.99, Missouri shot glasses. Boring ones, every single state, for $1.99. For like $5.99, you can get an extra large T-shirt of some heavy metal band that never made it, right? You know, eat your mother's liver, whatever it may be. And on the back is all kinds of like, you know, all the cities that they went through, whatever it is, like, whatever it is, Flatbush, Tom's River, you know, all that kind of thing, Muncie. So it's very, my kids love these things. They call it pajama, because, you know, they're like, they go past their knees. It's a lot of fun. So I love the Stuckey's store. This is, for me, is a particular thrill to go to a Stuckey's. So we're going across Missouri. There it is. Kinderlich, it's Stuckey's. We must stop. Okay, there's no Bechira Chavshis over here. We have to stop. It's Stuckey's. So we get off, and we come in, gasoline, toaleta, okay, baneros, whatever you want to call it, coffee, snacks, and the store. I come in there, and I'm in Stuckey's heaven. I really am. It's incredible. I buy, I don't know, they have everything. It's Stuckey's playing cards, all right? Or whatever it is, the famous American landmark playing cards, right? That kind of thing, right? All those things you'll get them for $1.99. It's stupid things. Ashtrays with like a picture of like, I don't know, I don't know, Congress. I don't know what it's. There's just ridiculous things they have over there. So I'm busy picking up my bag, and then it happened. My son-in-law comes rushing in. His face is flustered. He's looking, oh my gosh, he says, Abba! I guess, yes, you're like, well, what's wrong? He says, Abba, look what's happening to you. I said, what are you talking about? Abba, look what's happening to you. He said to me, is everything okay? He says, Abba, in exactly 2 hours, you have to give a presentation for the shloshim of a little boy in front of the whole kehillah of Kansas City. And look what's happened to you. I said, what's happening? He says, Abba, you're stuck in Stuckey's. And I go, oh my gosh, you're right. I'm stuck in Stuckey's. And I dropped everything. And I ran out of there. And we ran into the car, pressed the gas pedal, din. That's it. 120 miles an hour, I don't care. I got to make it in time for my share. And I'm going crazy. He says, Abba, you're stuck in Stuckey's. Abba, you're stuck in Stuckey's. You're stuck in Stuckey's. You're stuck in Stuckey's. And this is going through my head. Abba, you're stuck in Stuckey's. And then, boom, I realize that we are all stuck in Stuckey's. This is the story of our lives. Everyone is stuck in the gas stations of life. You can't help it. It's too enticing. Everyone is stuck in Stuckey's. This is what I learned at that moment then. And it started to hit me how true this is. Okay? It's a famous chazal, life is a highway. I mean, it's a famous country song, okay? Life is a highway. And everyone wants to get to Kansas City. This is not a Dorothy reference. Kansas City is Mashiach and eventually Olam Haba. It's everything that is truly good in this world. It's symbolized with good old Kansas City. But we can't help it because we're stuck in Stuckey's. So I just want to read this to you because I thought this was particularly powerful. See if you can guess who this is from. Okay, quote, mankind is ready to sacrifice his health in order to earn wealth and then spend it all in order to restore health. He's so worried about his future that he doesn't enjoy his present. The result, he neither enjoys his present nor his future. He behaves as though he is immortal, but when he dies, it is as though he never lived. These powerful words. It's from the Dalai Lama. If the Dalai Lama is not Jewish, can say such a thing, how much the more so you and I should be thinking this way. So here's the obvious. Okay, just as a marshal, right? The gas station, you can't drive without gasoline. You can't live without money. You can't make money without, as some of your parents would say, without going to college. I get that. So you need gasoline for your car. Like, duh. You need it. You need it. You need it. You need food. You need snacks. You need coffee. Of course you need it. And what about the Stuckey's store? How does that fit in? The Stuckey's store is that every person in this room, if you're normal and healthy, you need to escape. You can't always be heavy, Torah and mitzvahs. So you need to escape. Everyone needs to get out there a little bit. But you can get stuck in Stuckey's, honestly. Okay, I'm going to America on Thursday. I need to sound like I'm with it, with the teenagers. So to my horror and to my shock, this Thursday night, I'm going to have to talk about Barbie. Okay? I don't even know. Maybe I'm just going to walk around like on my tippy toes and just like, that's going to be good enough over here. And I don't know what it is. It's something that freaks me out about this whole thing with Ken and his shaved legs, whatever it is. But the point is that this whole thing is scary. This is what's going on over here. But there's always something that's going on. And now it used to be, you talk about Harry Potter. What happened after Harry Potter? You don't remember. I have to know these things. After Harry Potter was vampires. We went right from Dementors to vampires. After vampires, Hunger Games. Little Kinderlich eating other Kinderlich, killing each other. This is what it is. There's always something. And it just changes the name. It always is something. It's always something new. And there's always, deep down, you'll find behind the scenes, there's Yidden making money. I promise you. I don't even know. I don't have to ask this question. But it's like, it's so obvious to me that the founder of Barbie was Jewish and the people behind it. It's it, Baruch Hashem. But this is it. You get into it. Everyone gets into it. I have a friend in Harnoff, Rabbi Talansky. He had a student that disappeared for three years. Literally missing in action. He resurfaced. Turned out that for 3 years, he had been playing a game on the internet, Witches of Warcraft. I can't remember the exact name what it was. It's one of these games. He was actually making money doing this because he was the avatar for people who were so good at this game. But for 3 years, he was doing this 15 hours a day until eventually he collapsed. And then he re-entered the regular world. It sounds like a horrific story, right? Everyone does this all the time. It's just not, it's different. They have different ways of calling it. You start to check. There's a horrible thing that many phones have. How much time you spent on your phone that week. So people have a thing called YouTube addiction. It's a thing. You start off, whatever, for your schoolwork, you start off at YouTube, it's not a big deal. But at the end, they tell you, why don't you press this? So you press this. And it's not really connected, but it is connected. And then at the end, they say, press that. And then, okay, why not? Okay, it's late at night, I'm tired, my brain is on 10%. And you keep on, 2 hours later, you suddenly find yourself, whatever it is, on some tutorial how to communicate with a giraffe, right? You have no idea how you got that. And you realize this happens day in, day out. We're all stuck in Stuckey's. Now I want to tell you a little chiddush. I mentioned money beforehand. Money is something. It's not to be scoffed, okay? Just like I believe that people need sports and people need an escape. People need to get out a little bit. But money is definitely important. I'm happy when a person has a good job. I'm happy if a person goes to college and becomes a professional and goes out and earns an honest day's living. It's not a problem for me. The problem is when you're stuck in Stuckey's, can mean that sometimes you get obsessed with it. Sometimes you see, I don't know if some of you grew up, your parents were immigrants. I'm talking in America, your parents were immigrants. And they talked about money as if it was Kodesh Kodashim, and talked about that you must go to college if it's Kodesh Kodashim. It's a very scary thing because suddenly you find out that you have, let's leave your parents out. You have an uncle, and your uncle, you look into his brain at any given moment, all he thinks about is money. Your cousins, his kids, they don't know their father because he's always running after money. One day he gets old, he looks back in his life, And he realized he missed out on life. He missed out on raising his kids. He missed out on the truly important things in life. He never got it. He never opened up a sefer because all he was obsessed with money. I recently had the schus to speak in the Persian community in LA. And I said this to them. I said, I get it. You guys came literally with nothing. You came to American soil. You guys went through hell and back after the, if you know your history, after the fall of the Shah and when the Ayatollah came in. And what they went through Gehenna. And I don't blame them. They came to America. They wanted to rebuild. I said, but now it's a generation later. You made it, Baruch Hashem. You guys did well. Now look at your kids. I said, I want to ask you a question. Do you know what your grandparents looked like back there in the Teherani and the Mashadi and Esfarhani and Gwen Stefani, whatever it was back there? Okay, all these things. You ever seen pictures of your grandparents? I want to ask you a question. Your Persian great-grandparents, do they look more like your grandkids or do they look like me, Ashkenazi rabbi? By the way, I asked permission from the rabbi of the shul to say this because he was very happy for me to say it. And people thanked me because sometimes you need like a wake-up call. It's very important to support your family. But if you get stuck in it, if you get completely obsessed with it, that's not what it's supposed to be. Same thing with health. You look into some people's, all they're thinking about is dieting and eating and dieting and eating. That's what it all is. Then you reach a certain point in your life, you look back, and you realize that you never got back onto the highway. And Kansas City is as elusive and far away as ever. So I want to say to you something very, very important. I want to say something very, very important. And then I'm going to bring this all back. But there's one more hashkafic thing I want to say to you. Do not misquote me. I'm not dissing Stuckey's. I'm dissing being stuck in Stuckey's. Massive, massive difference. I'm not saying there's a wrong with gas stations in life. In the country, you need gas stations in life. I want to give you a marshal about what I mean over here. A few years ago, my wife and I were part of a group that went to Amsterdam for Shabbos. So I was like the historian, and Rabbi Frand was the scholar in residence. And it was a beautiful Shabbos, and the chevra were, it was basically, a New Yorkie chevra. Whatever it is, I can't remember, with Brooklyn, Barra Park, Flatbush, and whatever it is, I can't remember what it was. It's a yeshivish crowd. Wonderful, wonderful people. I'm not saying it was very, they walking back from shul with me, and they saw the Amsterdam vibe that was going on over there. So Amsterdam is basically you have these cafes, these outdoor cafes, and you've got the canals. And you see people, you see Goyim Friday night, they're drinking beer, whatever it is, so the families over there, stuff like that. And one of the Balabatim said to me, Rabbi Nissel, look at these chevra over there. He says, it's so good to be a Yid. We came back from shul, the beautiful shul, now we're going to have a Shabbos meal with Rabbi Frand, and these guys, this is the Goy Shenachas. Now I wasn't able to say to him what I was thinking, because he would take me out of context. And honestly, I feel bad, because I know I'm on tour anytime, but I'm worried that people are going to judge me. You can take me out of context, and it sounds very bad. I am attracted to that scene over there. I find it very attractive. I want to explain to you why. First of all, it's not sleazy. You've been to Amsterdam, right? Okay. You're born there. There we go. Okay, it's not sleazy. I'm thinking about you. People go there with their bicycles. So how drunk can you get? There's flowers everywhere. You're looking at beautiful Dutch architecture, and you've got the canals. You've got the water over there. I would like to go there with my wife. She would order bottled water, and I would order like a beer. And I'm an adult. Just don't get nervous, okay? I'm allowed to say that? An adult, okay? So whatever it is. What's the Dutch beer over there? Amster, whatever it's called, okay? Fine, great. Then the next step is to switch our phones off and let time stand still. I want to tell you something. It's exquisitely beautiful, okay? It's my wife. I'm enjoying the company. We're not talking about kids or money or nothing like that. We're enjoying the moment. Now I want to ask you a question. What's the difference in what I'm enjoying and what, a few feet away, a few meters away from me, the guy next door, he's there with his wife. What's between him and me? And the answer is, Mizrach and Marav could not be two further experiences that you could ever imagine, the extreme opposite experience. We're doing exactly the same thing for total opposite reasons. Allow me to explain. Allow me to explain. the guy 2 feet away from me, the Gentile, unfortunately, our own brothers and sisters do this as well. They wake up in the morning, they don't like their jobs. Everything that you do loses its glamour when you're doing it day in, day out for years and years and years. That's it. I ask my friends, I have friends who are doctors, what do you do for a living? I know, I prescribe laxatives to old people. It's what they do, right? Things lose their glamour after a while. So day in, day out. So what do I do? At night, I'm going to watch a movie. I'm going to come home and sit there in front of a screen, put my brain on 5%. I'm going to watch the latest movie. Fine. Then what? 6 days of the week, you work hard. 5 days of the week, weekends. Party, man. Okay, let's go clubbing. Yeah, woohoo. Okay, great. Then, whatever, 7, 8 months, 9, 10 months of the year, work hard. Summertime. And the living is easy. You go off. You got to find yourself some beach, cover yourself with like sunscreen, and hope that you're not the first person on your block to get skin cancer. Whatever, okay? All kinds of miserable things. People are obsessed with escaping from reality. Everything they do is for that moment of disconnection. With me, it's the exact opposite. I only disconnect because I crave reality. The only reason I disconnect, because I know that I'm going to be a better teacher right now, if last week, Baruch Hashem, last week I was in a place called Malta. You go away, you disconnect, let time stand still, and then afterwards you come back, ani bifnim. That's it. I don't need it anymore. I can go back and push my body to the limit, which is what I think a Jew should do. A Jew should always push themselves to one step before getting anxiety. Whatever you can do more in chesed and in Torah and in tefillah and everything, you push yourself, but you're not allowed to make yourself anxious about it. You keep pushing it, and that's the delight of life. Afterwards you burn out, so then you step out, and then you come back in. The goal is Kansas City. With them, the goal is Stuckey's. You see the difference? That's the difference between 99% of humanity and the Torah world. The Torah world, we escape so that we can go back and focus on Mashiach and Olam Haba and all the really, truly beautiful things in life. So now I'm ready to go and summarize and get back to some important messages that I want to share with you. The month of Elul is a precious month. The month of Elul always comes after the summer. The Meiri, one of the Rishonim, says, most of the stupid things that we do in life are in the summer months. I don't know how you knew about camp, whatever it is. I don't know how you knew about things. But honestly, what the Meiri probably means is that after the harvest, there's not much to do. And people, when you have spare time, so that's when we start making bad choices. The purpose of Elul is to wake us up and to get us out of the Stuckey's in life, and get us back on the highway, on the I-60 to take us to Kansas City. I want to show you something very, very deep. Where does Elul take us to? The answer is 2 places, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So I know how you were taught Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur when you were growing up. I want to give you a different definition of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is really and truly a wake-up call. That's what it is. The purpose of Rosh Hashanah is to get you out of Stuckey's and to bring you back to the highway. That's what it is. Hamelech is to get you back. Interestingly, the Rambam says this is the main reason behind the shofar of Rosh Hashanah. He brings down the pasuk, Uru mishnachem, wake up from your slumber. You're stuck in Stuckey's. That's what the shofar is there. You're stuck in Stuckey's. Now what? What was the great rule that I taught you half an hour ago? You can't get a person to wake up unless you make it really, really exciting. There's a whole dimension about Yom Kippur that people are not aware of. Yom Kippur, everyone knows, is a deep cleansing. You get rid of your past. You start off on a new page. Wrong. That's the second big idea of Yom Kippur. The first big idea is what Shlomo calls Yom Chasan also. It's God's wedding day. The Klal Yisrael have placed themselves in a position to be his partner. The shofar at the end of Yom Kippur is called the shofar of the freedom of slaves. It is the shofar of what's called Alma de Cherusa in Kabbalistic language, is the world of our personal freedom. What is freedom? Freedom from the shackles of the physical world. Freedom where we look at Stuckey's as something, as a convenience, but it can never control us. That's true freedom. Freedom is you go in, you spend exactly the amount of time that you need. You enjoy the coffee, You enjoy whatever it is, the convenience, you fill up the car, you go to the Stuckey store for 15 minutes, and then you get back on the highway. That's what you do. That's freedom. The shofar of Yom Kippur is the shofar of true freedom, where we are living the life that HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is, so to speak, the king. We are the queen. We are partners. And we are bringing the world to what's called B'yom Hahu Yeh Hashem Echad U'Shmo Echad. And Yom Kippur is a taste of that tremendous unity. Yom Kippur is that world of true freedom. That's why, the idea of not eating, meaning the physical world, has become irrelevant to me. I'm living on a higher plane. Now, this morning, you probably heard it, wherever you live. This morning, I heard the shofar before saying the Shem Adev Ori. There's a minhag called the shofar of El. What is the purpose of the shofar of El? The answer is two things. It's two things. Not one, it's two things. The first thing is, it's the shofar of Rosh Hashanah. It's the wake-up shofar. It's like, hello, summer's over. Get back onto the highway. Focus, I-60, Kansas City. Olam Hazeh is a place of Torah, a place of Avodah, a place of Gemilas Chasadim. Get focused on those big three, because that's what life is really all about. It's the wake-up call shofar, but the shofar is also, the same shofar, is the shofar of Yom Kippur, because I can never get you to change unless I show you what's waiting for you at the other end, the beauty, the gorgeous beauty of that infinite world of pleasure, which is what Yom Kippur symbolizes, is the world of the future. So the shofar of Elul is mitpaleg v'shnayim, it breaks into two. One part goes to Rosh Hashanah, the other goes to Yom Kippur. But for us, Elul, the message of Elul, is something that we need to stay focused on, because this is it. This is our lives. We get one shot at it, we've got to get it right. Elul is begging us that don't make the mistakes that most of humanity does, that they're stuck in the gas stations of life. And that's it. They look back at their lives in their old age, and they say, what happened? What did I do? What did I achieve? How could I have wasted so much of my time? But we, every single one of us, are here soldiers on a mission that's very exciting. And every single one of us can ask ourselves, can we study more Torah? Can we work more in our davening, tefillah, and work more on chesed, which I think ladies like yourselves should be doing more of. I don't want to give you musar, but every single one of you, you can ask Rebbetzin Zamira, and she'll give each one of you, show you how you can do more in this city to help other people. There's always more that you can do to keep you on the highway, focused on Kansas City. And then you study the words of the prophets, and you see the beautiful words of Yeshayahu HaNavi describing what's waiting for us at the other end. And we realize that we are the luckiest people on earth. We are so fortunate to have everything that's truly meaningful in Olam Hazeh, and ultimately everything that is infinite in Olam Haba. And all that's left for me is to wish you all a ksiv tov and a good year, and that we should all be zocha, not just not to be stuck in Stuckey's, but to all together with Dorothy, we should enjoy Kansas City. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, you don't have to. Okay, shkayach.